How's it going? It's Saturday today. Had a wonderful session with a regular client, and um, where to start when I don't have a lot of time? Yeah, exactly. It's the filter. It's all about the filter through which we experience life, right? We touched a lot on how one experiences abuse and suffering, and there was the terminology of psychosis had come up, and the wisdom from my client that even if such horrendous acts of abuse had not occurred physically, that it was plain to see that involuntary body movements were indicating that no matter about whatever the objective physical reality, there was a felt sense of suffering and pain imprinted to the extent that it was being carried years later. And they rolled with that, they conducted themselves in response to that. And what I perceive was a sensitivity and a sensibility. And I think even if we tell ourselves we could be so much better, or we need so much more resources or information or knowledge to be able to give quality care, I feel like that intention and that sincerity and that willingness of being patient, of listening, rather than knowing all the answers, of suspending judgment and suspending, resolution in a way, not being attached to a tidy outcome. I know all of these are basic tools that a lot of us in this profession practice all the time, but when you're in the position of interfacing with a personal family member, especially if they're your child or somebody you have care of, in other words, somebody vulnerable, then we're all triggered. We all want to be, taken care even better than we think we're able to. We can't be good enough. And I think this filter, yes, there is a 3D reasoning and logic to it, but there is also, I feel, a subculture of self-flagellation. And I think that this has affected and influenced our standard of mental health, emotional health, and psychic health. And of course, this knocks on and it shows up in our physical health, in our physical body. Hello, here I am. So the capacity to hold the tension when the physical body demonstrates with symptoms, physical symptoms, in a large part, this can be cultivated in other ways besides physical. Having said that, I do believe that physical or care of the physical body is really paramount if we want to be anywhere near a good basic standard of functioning, of existing, let alone thriving. 3 markers that I take are, that I may or may not follow myself every day, are: do I get out of breath? Am I being worked physically in a way, either doing jumping jacks or running up a hill? Nod to the song there, or whatever I'm doing. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot if I'm or not physically active, so getting physically out of breath. Another is perspiration. Am I sweating? And those of you in countries or places where the temperature or the climate just naturally, you can't help but perspire, well, you're ahead a little bit. But perspiring, the heart rate going, these may be 2 separate instances where these happen. And the third one, what's your capacity to be moved and be touched? Are you crying? Are you able to allow yourself to be moved? Now, I'm not talking about indiscriminate crying at every such thing and looking at the news and crying in newspaper, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when it's quiet in the mind, maybe quiet outside, meaning in the external stimulus, and you're able to feel touched and in a healthy way. Allow that energy, because that's what it is. At least that's what I'm playing around with now as a concept. When I cry, when I'm moved. And I'm somebody that may or may not have been very easily touched and moved in the past, but now I play around with the concept that this is energy moving through me. And it doesn't lessen the emotional charge. Well, maybe it does a little bit because I'm still with training wheels. But yeah, this is a capacity, I think, along with deprived sleep, that is really important, I think, in our soul health. I've met people infrequently and yet regularly that cannot cry, or they say they haven't cried for, I don't know, a year, 10 years. And they usually can trace it to a very logical reason when that stopped happening. And it all makes sense. When my wife died of cancer, when I lost my child to a drowning, whatever. Obviously horrific and momentous, life-changing events. And yet this major symptom is crying out, literally, excuse the pun, from the soul. Like when you're unable to be moved, when life or the world is not safe enough for me to allow myself to be touched. That's quite moving in itself. So, yeah, didn't expect to go there. Isn't life funny? Sense of humor. Yeah, okay. Meant this to be a quick minute check-in post-session because I'm trying to catch the post office on a Saturday. But yeah, I wish you the best today. Have a great day, whatever day it is, and chat to you soon.